Well, the leader of the Wagner Group is allegedly now in Belarus. His exile, part of a deal that ended this weekend's armed rebellion inside Russia. Joining us now is retired Marine Intelligence Officer Hal Kempfer, Lieutenant Colonel. Welcome. Thank you so much for your time. First, let's just start with the big headline here. Do you believe Prigozhin is actually in Belarus, as Belarus's president claims?
Nichole, it's been a real question up to this point. There have been multiple reports today that he did arrive in Belarus. There was a report that a private plane, a jet plane associated with the Wagner Group and one that's associated with him personally, did arrive at Minsk airport. And there's also a claim that he's actually in a hotel in Minsk. Interestingly, it quotes an unnamed U.S. official saying it's one of the few hotels in town without any windows. And I think that's directed at the problem that people who oppose Putin seem to be falling out of windows on high floors. But there is a lot of indications that not only he's there, but also that they're building a camp for Wagner forces in Belarus. And latest report is it'll be able to house about 8,000. It may be getting beyond that, but it indicates that the Wagner Group may be moving to Belarus in far greater numbers than just Prigozhin himself.
So how Prigozhin may be there, other Wagner troops could be there. Another thing that allegedly is there in Belarus is these nuclear weapons, and that's according to, again, the president of Belarus. Are those weapons already moved there, and how concerned should we be here in America?
Nichole, that's the big issue, and the reason that Lukashenko has been beholden to Russia is because they sent in military forces a few years ago to put down a popular revolt, a popular rebellion, if you will, to remove him from office. And that was the only way he could stay in office, was to bring in outside security forces. Well, now he's got the Wagner Group coming in. The Wagner Group provides that same utilitarian purpose that the Russian troops have, and they're somewhat autonomous. They're beholden to Lukashenko. And the concern is that he's going to use them instead of relying on the Russians. He may use them to separate himself from reliance on the Russians. And they could very well be in a position to move in and potentially take custody of those nuclear weapons, which by all reports have been there for at least 1 or 2 weeks.
So how, not that everybody involved in this can be trusted, so to speak. What is Putin's next move here, and how precarious is the government there right now?
Well, Putin's very nervous. Despite all the bluster, he's reversed himself in public statements a couple of times. And certainly everybody in the Wagner Group realizes that whatever deal, whatever arrangement they have with Putin could be changed as quick as tomorrow morning with the way he seems to reverse himself. So they're very nervous about it. He's nervous because when the Wagner forces went into Russia, they basically were unopposed. Not only did the Russian army not stop them and let them roll more than halfway up to Moscow, but when they crossed the border, those border guards are under the FSB. That's the internal security force that basically looks at Russia, also is involved with intelligence operations in Ukraine. By all reports, they basically hugged the Wagner troops as they were crossing the border on their way to Rostov. That has to have Putin very concerned about traitors, if you will, within his government, those close to him. And he's probably getting ready to do some sort of purge, but he's also very worried. If he goes after Wagner, if he goes after Prigozhin right now, he could turn him into a martyr and create a bigger problem than what he's facing currently.
My last question for you. What are the chances, you think, that we will still see a coup?
I think it's very unstable there. And I don't think this thing has completely played out. I don't know if there will be Prigozhin. I'm not quite sure who Prigozhin was talking to prior to this big move into Russia, but there's a lot of frustration throughout the elites of Russia, whether they're in government service or whether they're tied to the oligarchs. They're very concerned. One term I'd heard today was they're concerned that Russia is going to become sort of North Korea-like. They're going to basically just become this hermit kingdom and cut off from the world, and their wealth will diminish. And that's unacceptable to a lot of very powerful Russians.
Yeah, that's really certainly a strong statement there. Lieutenant Colonel Kempfer, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Nichole.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.